guys, this is Troy with Albright Acres Homestead. We're starting a new channel here, just kind of showing our farm life and letting people see what we do day to day. And it's just a little hobby farm and more like a private petting zoo, but we're also sort of a retirement home for goats. And today's a sad day on the farm. We had a goat that didn't make it, and it was an older goat when we got it. We didn't know exactly how old it was, but it's had some health issues over the last couple of years, and we've been treating it, and it just didn't make it. So today I got to deal with that, and we got a lot of projects around the farm that we want to share with you, and maybe those who haven't done things like this, these different projects before, may find some useful tips or tricks that I use every day and maybe help your projects go easier. So if you would, join along with me and we'll get started. Well guys, we got to start off by getting our front trumpet here cremated. I'm not going to show any of the gruesome details, but on a farm, either you got to bury your critters when they pass or you got to burn them. And we don't have a whole lot of digging apparatus that I can use with a bad back. I don't have a post hole digger to drill several holes or on the back of my tractor yet. It's one of the future things I want to get. And I don't have a bucket on my tractor. So that just leaves me with shovels and a hand-powered post hole digger. And my back can't handle that, so I have to move on to doing the cremation instead. A little more time consuming, but it's a little easier on the back. So I'm over here at one of my wood piles from deadfall off of the trees, and I keep multiple piles laying around because you never know when you're going to have to do something like this. So let's go ahead and get started with moving some wood. I'm going to set you down and go through basically my day. So here we go. Always got to remember to use some gloves. Might be a farmer, but hands are important. And not every farmer just has the most beat up hands. It's not a farmer that doesn't have pain. There are a lot of farmers out there that have hands made of steel, but it's better to make your hands last, especially with me. I'm a bass player for my church, and I have to keep my hands in good shape, so gloves are definitely important. And if you're cutting anything, you should have safety glasses on, but I'm not cutting anything. One tool I'm going to use to help out with picking stuff up is my fencing pliers. If you can't tell there, that's a fairly sharp point on that. That's for prying out fence staples or using to hook onto different stuff and drag or pull. But they are one of the most handy tools I have on the farmstead here. You can use them for a lot of different things. There's a hammerhead and of course the spike. You can use that spike when you're going to pick up wood. Like I have to squat down and I can hook and drag and pull stuff up to the height where I can grab it easily. I am not supposed to pick up more than 40 pounds, which that comes out to about 25 there. And I'm not supposed to be doing too much bending, so little things like this, maybe I could sharpen that up a little better to be good for that, but the other thing you can use is just a simple hatchet. Sorry about the road noise, I'm at one of my piles near the road. So I'm going to get on cracking with this and I'll talk to you in a minute. Got the wood loaded up. It only took about 5 minutes. Had a couple in there that were pushing it on my limits, but I took a time lapse for you so you wouldn't have to sit there through a video of me picking up logs and doing things the disabled way. So if you weren't aware yet, I'm actually a disabled veteran. I have fairly messed up back. I've been through 2 spinal fusions and a shoulder surgery, and I ended up doing a lot of things I probably shouldn't, but my doctor said my body will tell me if I'm doing too much or if I'm not doing enough. And if I'm not doing enough, I'm achy and sore, like joints and my back. And if I do too much, then I'm into sciatic pain. So, but he said just a general guideline, try not to go over 40 pounds. Said no human being should ever have to lift more than 40 pounds for any reason, unless it's an emergency. And I'm supposed to avoid bending as much as possible, and that's why I have to use stuff like the hatchet or the fence pliers to jab stuff and pull it up to my height, because I don't have a picaroon or anything like that. So gotta make do with what I got. And that's my stack of wood right there. Got some long stuff over here. Sorry about the road noise. So we're right by the road. We got several big thick rounds. Here comes the loud one again. Kind of busy for early in the morning. Sun hasn't even topped the trees yet. Can't tell, it's like right there. We got about 30 minutes before it really gets over the trees, so it's gonna start getting hot, and I gotta get my work done for the day. Hopefully before that. Man, that's really noisy. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and get this moved, and we'll get over there and make our pile and get it all ready to go. I'll see you in a minute. Anybody out there's considering a farm life and haven't lived it before or dealt with any of the stuff on the farm, if you're gonna have a farm with critters on it, you have to be willing to deal with a dead carcass if it comes about through your day. And you can't just leave an animal carcass laying around. It's gonna attract predators and scavengers. It's gonna potentially spread disease through the rest of your herd, and it has to be dealt with. It doesn't matter how squeamish you are, whether or not you can do it without throwing up. If you got to throw up, just throw up and get it done. It's got to happen. You got to take care of it, or you got to have somebody there that's willing to. Which is also a good thing to know your neighbors, because you might have a neighbor that's able to handle it and help you out. So always keep good neighbors. Don't start drama between yourself and neighbors if you can avoid it. They're a good resource whenever you need them. We have a bunch of great neighbors around us. We got a couple elderly neighbors as well, which they can't so much help us physically, but one of them does occasionally. He's a pretty nice guy. And they are a lot better resource for knowledge and experience than they are for physical labors at times. But our one neighbor across the street, he still gets in and does some of the physical helping out. I had a tree that had laid over the road, and him and our next door neighbor, a lady that's about my age, I think she's a couple years younger than me, but she has kids and everything, and she just saw me out and working in the ditch, and her and the other neighbor came over and just helped me loading up wood in the back of the truck. And some of that wood right now is going to help with the funeral pyre here, so you never know when a neighborly resource will come in handy. And don't be afraid to ask for help. My biological father, he passed away whenever I was 7, but he lived most of his life under the motto of the more you know how to do for yourself is the less you got to pay somebody to do it for you. It's a great motto, but as a physically disabled person, my life has changed a little bit, so you can't always manage to do some of those things that you might know how to do. And my stepdad, he's been my dad most of my life. He was with my mom whenever my dad had passed away. There had been a divorce and everything, but everybody got along really good. But my stepdad, he's been there since I was about 6 years old, I think. And he's been in my life my whole life, and he's been dad. I call him dad, and I don't call him my stepdad, except to explain to people who he is and why we don't share the same last name. But he is a really smart guy too, and he's added on to that motto of, if you can afford to pay somebody to do it, it's probably better to just pay somebody to do it when you're in a physically disabled situation. But if you don't have the money to do it, or money to pay somebody to do it for you, you got to get creative, which is where both mottos kind of balance each other out. So you got to use your head, work smart, not hard. Most of what I do, I try to work as smart as I can, but a lot of times I end up working harder than I need to. And my wife gets on to me about it, because sometimes I make a mountain range out of a molehill, not just a mountain. And I tend to overthink things at times. And I got her there to kind of give me a reality check and help me realize, hey, it could be a little simpler than that. But that's the great thing about marrying a school teacher that deals with young kids all the time. She can get down on my level. At times I can be a bit of a kid, but she helps me out and helps keep me on the right track sometimes, because I tend to bounce around, and I grew up with ADD, and learning how to go through life without bouncing one project to another has been difficult. I'm not medicated for it, but I've just learned to deal with it over the years, and I have to keep myself focused and keep myself busy, which isn't hard to do when you got ADD. And you'll see a lot of that on this channel, of me starting off with one project and I'll bounce to another project, and it might be a little difficult to keep the videos on track, but I'm going to do my best for you guys. So just wanted to give you that quick tip about making sure that you deal with animal carcasses, even if you got to pay somebody to come help you do it. If you're not willing to do it or not capable of doing it, then find somebody that is, because you can't just leave it laying around. All right, guys, I'm to the point where I'm ready for the gruesome part, so I'm not going to share that with you. But here's my stack of wood. I usually put some bigger rounds along the outsides, help pin in the long, thin stuff. Always got to make sure you have plenty of wood when you're doing these kind of things, and always make sure you got some extra on hand beside, which I have a pile probably 10 yards from the pile there, or from the pyre there. So we're going to get that done and get moving along. Before I do that and get set into tending a fire most of the day, just want to give you a quick rundown. We have our own little pen here with lots of goats and donkey. We got a pony running around. She's pregnant, so we're gonna have a little mule running around sometime in the next 30 days. She's been pregnant all year. But our chickens and ducks like to come out and scratch through all the hay, and got a little hay ring there that I made out of fence panel, and they're just munching away on it. But one of our projects coming up probably in the next video is going to be putting wire ties where I didn't put them before. And you can see that all the way down the line, I didn't get any of the top ones done on a good portion of it, because we were just trying to get out of town for our anniversary weekend when we put it up, and had to hurry. You might be able to see here, it goes all the way down almost 40 yards, and ends off down there where I tied into another section of fence that was pre-existing. So in our next video, we're gonna go ahead and start doing the wire ties and getting fencing done. I was planning that for the day, but life on a farm, you never know what you're gonna get when you get up. So we gotta take it as it comes. Have a critter pass, you gotta take care of the critter, and you have a new baby on the farm, you gotta take care of the new baby. Your day dictates what you're gonna do by itself without you having much control over it. So we're gonna get on with that and hope to see you on the next one. Hey guys, I got most of the gruesomeness dealt with, and now it's down to a point where you actually can't tell from a distance here what's going on. So I can show you what I'm tending right now. That's our little funeral pyre going on for our goat. You can't see any more remnants of the goat, but we got more logs piled up on top after we were good and going. So I'll just be tending the fire today.